Well, folks, first of all, thank you very much for joining. And also kudos, right? Interviews are a really vulnerable time. Interviews are somewhere where you are there to share with a complete stranger what you're proud of, where you failed, what you consider your own weaknesses, what you consider your own strengths. And it takes courage to walk into any interview. And it certainly takes a bit of courage and confidence and self-awareness to be practicing these things. So absolutely want to first start by saying kudos to you for coming and joining and learning and practicing all together. Our goal here this week is going to be twofold. The first is certainly to become better interviewers, but it's really the second that I want to mention. Our goal this week is to become better storytellers. We're going to become better storytellers, and we're going to talk about all these different interview questions this week through the context of storytelling. Because when we're trying to bring people into our little journey, when we're trying to get them to hire us, when we're trying to get them to talk to us one more time, they're going to do it not because of just facts and not because of a few things we say we've accomplished. They're going to do it because of the stories we tell them, and in particular, because of the roles that they believe they have in our stories. So that's the context under which we're going to run this week. So each day, I'll start off with just a 5 to 10 minute tip about how to answer that specific question. We're going to use a lot of movie references. A, because it's fun, and B, because who is a better storyteller than Hollywood? And we're going to just talk for 5 to 10 minutes about how to do that. And then we're going to actually direct you to practice. And I know a lot of folks love to learn and love to watch videos, but it's really where the practice begins, where the rubber hits the road, that you guys are going to improve. And so the practice is going to seem scary. It's going to seem uncomfortable. It's going to seem weird. And kudos to you in advance for being courageous enough to do it. And that's where you're really going to find yourself improving through the practice, through the feedback. And we're all going to spend this week helping each other get a ton better. So let's do this. You guys ready to talk about what is your proudest professional accomplishment? Let me get a thumbs up. Sherry, I'm watching you. There you go, Sherry. You're the one I was waiting for. Perfect. All right. So we're going to talk about what is your proudest professional accomplishment? That's our question of the day. Now, when an interviewer asks you, what is your proudest professional accomplishment? They're looking to understand a few things. They're looking to understand what you care about. Who are you? What are you proud of? What do you find important to you? Right? They want to get to know you a little bit better. They want to get to know how well you know the role in the company a little bit better. Because if you're going for an accounting role and you share that your proudest professional accomplishment is a public speech you gave to your kid's school, well, that's great. But I don't know if public speaking is necessarily the accomplishment that ties to the role in the company. So they want to know, how well do you understand the role? How well do you understand the skills you'll need and the company? And they're always, always, always looking to understand, what is their role going to be on your journey? Do they want to be a part of the stories that you're going to be creating with the company? Do they want to contribute to them? Do they want to benefit from them? What role do they want to play in your stories? And so you should always remember, the more we can bring people into our journey, the better. So as we go through this, I'm going to share 3 quick tips. And I'm going to do that through the context of Game of Thrones. Why Game of Thrones? There's a lot of heroes, there's a lot of proud accomplishments, and I just finished rewatching the whole series last night. So it's very fresh, and that's why we're going to talk about it. The first tip, when you're talking about what is your proudest professional accomplishment, be the hero. Be the hero. I know it's hard and uncomfortable and strange sometimes to talk about what I've accomplished, to say how good I did, how well I did, to say what I've done. But this is the place where you are being asked to brag a little bit. This is the place where you are being asked, what was your role? I don't care just what the company accomplished while you were there. I care about what you did to contribute to the company's accomplishments. I don't care how your team grew and doubled or tripled in size. I care about the decisions you made in hiring people or training people, or the systems you put in place to make that successful. So be the hero of your story, because I want to better understand where you're coming from and what that means for me. Next, when you're being the hero, as Jon Snow was here, it's very important to think about how to bring people along on this hero's journey, right? Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones was this great storyteller. He wasn't always the hero. He didn't carry a sword or marry the queen or anything, but he was a great storyteller and united people through stories. So when you think about how you're going to tell the story of your great accomplishment, think about what it means for the interviewer as they get involved in this. Do they want to be a part of this story? What role can they see themselves playing in your story? The example I'll give here is when I talk about what is my proudest professional accomplishment, I always use the same example. My last job before this, I was leading sales for a self-driving car company, and I closed a deal start to finish, prospected, negotiated, led the contract stuff, and closed a deal on a $100 million deal with a Fortune 100 retailer. Now, there's two ways I can share that fact. And it's a great fact, right? If I'm going for a sales position, everybody wants a hero who closed a $100 million deal. But that's not enough. I can share that in two ways. I can share the facts. I can share my greatest accomplishment is that I closed a $100 million deal with a Fortune 100 company. It was hard, it was strenuous, and I led it the entire way, and it was really great, right? I can share, those are facts, they're impressive, maybe they'll inspire some conversation. Or I can share this same series of facts as a story that brings the listener, brings the person I'm interviewing with along with me. And the way I would tell this is, well, I think about it. Well, my proudest accomplishment is actually what led to this $100 million deal with a Fortune 100 retailer. And I'm certainly proud of what it meant for the company and the revenue and the fact that it was one of the earliest such deals in the entire self-driving car industry. But most importantly, I'm proud of how it came together. Because throughout the 6 to 8 months that it took to close this contract, I brought on different people from my team into meetings with the client. I'd bring great engineers into the meetings and they helped wow the client with awesome technology. I'd bring our CEO and he helped show the client that leadership cared about it. I brought in board members who showed the client that we're well funded. And it was all together that we accomplished this. And after the deal closed, I actually threw a great party for everybody in the office because everybody came together to make this happen. So I'm proud of my $100 million deal. But more than anything, I'm proud of how we used all of our resources and all of our people to come together. Right? In that story, and obviously I've embellished both versions a little bit, but in that story, what I did was I brought everyone together, and you, the listener, maybe you're my future manager, maybe you're my future CEO, maybe you're a future colleague in marketing or colleague even in engineering or accounting. I brought you into it and made you want to be of future storylines that I help write. So when you're thinking about this question, think about how can you help bring other people along with you? Now, in terms of practice, I want you to practice telling the story at first, right? I know you've heard about star stories and we're going to talk about them plenty this week and writing out bullet points and getting it right. But I want you to start practicing this answer by telling it to a pal at a bar, so to speak, right? In this particular scene, Tormund Giantsbane is sharing the story of how he's the offspring of a bear and a giant, and that led him to his great strength and whatever, right? He's just drinking out of his drinking horn and telling a buddy, and it's a great story. So when you practice this story, practice like you're just telling it to a pal, right? Be proud of what you've accomplished. Share oh, and it almost didn't work out, but then I did this and then it worked out and it felt so great. Because I think if you start practicing this answer this way, you'll be able to tell it with the emotion that it deserves, right? I want you to tell this story and make me feel like I want to be a part of it. And emotion is a very strong aspect of that. And if we start our practice by saying, write out your star story, write out your bullet points, write out the core facets, and then cut it all down and share it, whatever, you're going to lose some of that emotion. But if we start broad and just say, hey, tell a pal, what are you proud of? Oh, this one time I did this great thing and it was so cool. And I did this and nobody thought of doing that, but I did. And it was so great, right? It's going to be a little verbose. It's going to be a little imperfect, but you'll have that emotion. You'll have those moments of pride. So I want you to practice at first, like you're telling it to a pal, and then we'll whittle down from there. So here's what we're going to do next, right? Those are the quick tips. But again, it's really the practice where you're going to benefit. So first, I want you to log into riveterworks.com. If you don't have an account yet, it's absolutely free. So don't worry about it. It'll always be free. want you to practice a moment. Practice your answer once just for fun, like I'm telling it to a pal. You'll be able to keep your answer private, and I'll show you all that in a second. Nobody will ever see this. It's just for you. I want you to rewatch your answer and think about the parts you loved of it, right? Where did you smile and really bring people along? What was the best moment, right? And what could be cut out? Maybe it was a little verbose. Maybe you didn't need that part of the story. Maybe you didn't need to, maybe it got confusing at a certain aspect. It was a little verbose. And then practice it again. And that's the answer that you'll share with other Riveter members. And what I want you to do after that is go give feedback to at least one other video. All of us here, there's 20, almost 30 of us on here who are going to practice this answer. The way we benefit is through feedback. And so giving each other feedback, right? Teaching helps you learn. You'll be better by watching how other people answer and helping them improve. But that's our goal here, is to help each other improve. So what that looks like specifically is you'll log into riveterworks.com. You'll land on this homepage. Again, totally free. So if you don't have an account yet, don't worry about it. You'll be able to scroll down to this work history section, right? Where you'll see what is your proudest accomplishment. Click see others' answers, and you can browse how a couple of other people, including myself, told the story that I just told you about. But before you watch those, don't dilute yourself. Don't waste time. I've seen a lot of people put off actually practicing by watching other people do it. I want you to click practice your answer, and a video screen will open here. Now Zoom is blocking my camera, but it'll open for you right away. Practice just telling it to a pal at a bar, right? You've got a 2-minute time limit on there. Just chat it up. Then you'll have the option to save it and keep it private. Nobody will ever see this. You can delete it right after if you want. Just save it, rewatch it, learn from it, and then practice one more time and then share it with everybody. I'll be in there giving feedback to everybody. We'll all get together to give everybody feedback and share. All right. So that's where we're going to pause a quick 15 minutes. Hop in there right now, and I'll drop the link in the chat for everybody, but hop in there right now and share it with each other. Or hop in there right now, practice it, and share it with each other. There you go, riveterworks.com. And we will go from there. Now, I see there's a few questions.